Hey everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to day 4 of my hospital series. So again, I will link days 1, 2, and 3 down below, and if you are new, definitely check them out. I was recently discharged from the hospital for severe depression and severe anxiety. I got help, and this is kind of my story, my experience. So today I want to talk about the doctors and nurses, some of the medications, passes, and OT. When I say OT, I mean occupational therapy. So yeah, so let's get started. So first things first, the doctors and the nurses. The nurses were actually, the majority were pretty awesome. We definitely had really good nurses. Hands down, our favorite nurse was called Anne, and she was spectacular. Like, all of the nurses up there, they're kind of, I guess, trained to counsel and support. So if you're having a really bad day and your doctor's only there, your psychiatrist is only there so long, you can easily go to your nurse and be like, I'm having a really rough day and I need some help. I need to talk. And they'll talk to you. Close to my discharge, I was having a very rough day. I was scared. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if I was ready. And I was crying, and it was horrible. But she pulled me into one of the meeting rooms, and she sat with me for 45 minutes. 45 minutes. And she didn't even look at the clock. She didn't care about a break. She didn't care, that the whole world was going on out there. It was me and her, and she talked to me about some things I was having issues with, what I was scared of when I got out, and she talked to me, and she was real, and I think that was probably the best thing that could have happened. She opened my eyes to a lot of different things, and, what ifs. I'm stronger since I've come out. And that has a lot to do with my doctor and his team and the nurses. My doctor was fairly good. I think we had one, situation where I was not happy with what he was saying, and I didn't have that assertiveness to be like, yeah, no, that ain't gonna work. But I talked to my social worker, I talked to my OT, and it all got straightened out, and it was fine. So my meds. So he actually lowered my anxiety medication, but I take it regularly now. So I take it in the morning at 3 o'clock and then at bedtime. And I've been doing that, and I've noticed such a difference. I do take, it's called clonazepam, and basically, generally people take it when they feel anxious, but taking it regularly, for one, if I'm panicky or something, I don't run for it. I know I don't need it, which is awesome, because I take it scheduled every day, and it's made a huge difference. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. My anxiety is lower. It still gets bad if I get really anxious or panicky and have an attack. I can use the coping skills that I learned in the hospital and apply them here, like the deep breathing and focusing and all of that stuff. So I'm really, really proud of that. He also is very, very slowly weaning me off my antidepressant that I was on when I went in there, and he's added another one. So we're very slowly weaning me off, because that's part of what led to my blood pressure drop. What else has changed? Oh, the medical doctor, he was on the floor twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and he drew my blood and just did testing, and my cholesterol was a little high. So he had started me on a cholesterol pill. So I take that at bedtime, and then they also put me on a pill to help me sleep. They put me on, it's called trazodone. I've heard good things, and I've heard bad things. And I'm not sure, like, where I fall. I've heard it can cause anger and rage. And I've had some moments like that, but there was a reason for, like, I don't think that's being a side effect. I like it. It helps me get to sleep. It gives me, like, if I take it at 10 o'clock, which is when I take my meds at night, I'm asleep by 10:30 at the latest, and then I usually wake up at 7 or 7:30. Being home, obviously that has changed a little bit. The reason I was up so early at the hospital is because breakfast was at 8. And if you weren't there to get your breakfast, chances are it was going to be gone. We had scavengers. And I don't mean rats or mice. I mean people, other patients. It's horrible. So here I've been getting up 8:39, which is still okay. I could still do what I need to do, and yeah. So, I'll do passes before I do OT. So passes are basically times when you can leave the floor, either by yourself or accompanied. So, when I first got there, I got 2 45-minute accompanied passes, which means I could only leave if I was with a family member or friend. As long as I was basically supervised, then it was okay. So as I improved and got better, I was given like the smoking passes. So if you smoke, you can't just go whenever you want. There are certain times. The times for the smoking passes are 7:30, 12:30, 3:30, and 6:30. So you could go out and have a smoke. For me, I was given those passes, but they were not. Obviously, I don't smoke. So I took them to go downstairs. I found a really cool, like, waterfall. It was really quiet. I take a puzzle book down and just try and relax. The point of it was to get me off the floor, get me out by myself, and I did it. Eventually, I moved up to 45-minute passes, just me, which was nice. And the biggest passes were on the weekends. So my second weekend there, I got one overnight pass. So Dan picked me up Saturday. I stayed home. I slept over at home. Came home Sunday by 8 p.m. And then the next weekend, I was given a full pass, or also referred to as an LOA, which is like a leave of absence. And that was for Friday, Saturday, and then come back Sunday. So my last week there, he actually gave me an overnight during the week, just to make sure everything was going to go good before my discharge, and it did. It was fine. When you do a pass or an LOA, they will give you your meds. So they call down to the pharmacy, let them know the times I'm leaving, and they determine what medications I'm going to need while I'm gone. And then they send them up to the floor. And as we're leaving, your nurse gives you the little brown bag of medication. So, yeah, it was... I liked it. I liked the chances of getting off the floor eventually once I felt comfortable. But it was great. Like, I like that they do that, and it's, if you do not come back in time from your pass or your LOA, there's actually a code yellow that goes to the hospital, and they give you, like, full description, what they were wearing. We heard that a lot. There were a lot of code yellows. And that is more so for involuntary patients. So people are there as a requirement for something, or they've been formed there, things like that. That's when you're gonna see or hear code yellow. So, last but not least, the OT. So occupational therapists. I specifically dealt with two, Martha and Carol. Martha was my go-to. So if I ever needed to talk, I would get her and she'd set up a meeting and we'd talk. She also ran some of the classes they have. You basically get referred by your doctor. So my psychiatrist was more than happy to refer me. So at 10 o'clock I would go into a skills group. Now, it's basically you receive a project. So it's like a woodworking class or an art class. You pick a project, you'd receive it, you'd have to sand it, and then you paint it. So the idea of this class was concentration, focus, are you listening to instructions, are you remembering instructions, things like that. And I loved it. Let me just say, I absolutely loved it. It was one of my favorite things. It was calm, it was quiet. Everybody would talk, we would, chit chat, there'd always be a word of the day. It was just such a nice setting. I loved it. And I created 3 kind of cool things, which I will show you at the end of the video. So I would always go to 11. And then at 11 o'clock, I would go to what they called skills and solutions. So every single day was a new topic. So they would talk about stress, assertiveness. They had a 3-part series on depression. How to cope with it, how to manage it. Self-esteem, managing your anger, tolerating distress, setting healthy boundaries, problem solving, communication, changing negative thinking, difficult conversations. Like, they covered a lot. I missed the one on Friday I left, but it was just healthy, staying healthy. So I kind of wanted to be there for it, but I'm just going home, right? Like, yeah. So after that, it was usually lunchtime, and then I'd have time to write in my journal. And at 2:30, we would have a relaxation class. And that was literally, she'd close the blinds, turn the lights out, she'd turn on calming music, and she would talk to us. And it was Carol who ran it, and she just has this very soothing voice. And, your goal is basically to concentrate on her and concentrate and focus on what's happening. You tighten, like, your hands or your feet, and your body would be relaxed, and then she'd work on your breathing. And it was nice. I liked it. Like, it was a good class. That was all the classes that I really took. Yeah, those were the only classes I really went to. But that was enough for me. Between that and seeing your doctors, sometimes you'd see them twice in a day. And then if the medical doctor was there, I would see him. So there was always time filled. The afternoons is usually the quieter times, because that's the only class in the afternoon. And then I would take that time to, message Dan, hang out with my little group in the dining room, wander the halls. We would do laps at night. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then you had other people coming in. So they also had social workers. And my social worker was Eva. And she was great. She was someone to talk to. She would look at help in the community. She got me connected with different resources. I'm starting a program in a couple weeks. But I'm going to talk about all that stuff in tomorrow's video. But she was awesome. So we'd have her coming in and out as well. So, you know, it was never a dull moment, really. And my last night there, we did that, and we had so much fun. It was always me and Wendy, my roommate, and then a couple other lovely ladies would join us, and we would joke and, you know, look at the men nurses' butts, and, you know, just, it was nice to have that camaraderie. And please don't give me comments about checking out men's butts. Don't even. I was in the psych ward, guys. Sometimes you do what you gotta do. That's all I'm gonna say. It was just harmless fun. And they knew we did it. They don't care because they know that we're not gonna jump them and attack them. So, it was fun. So, yeah. I've covered everything in this video. Again, if you like this video and you're liking this series, give it a thumbs up. If you've missed the first few, by all means, check them out. I'll link them below. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.